Alright, so let's talk about The Wandering Village. This is a new city builder simulation game. However, it takes place in a unique area on top of a gigantic wandering creature called the Onbu. So, is this game unique enough to be worth your time and money? Let's get into it. I'll start with the story, the gameplay, and then my final thoughts. So, first of all, it is launching in early access. I did play a couple of hours of that one. It was developed by Stray Fawn Studio and published by them and Whisper Games as well. Just looking at some of the tags here on Steam, it's sandbox, single player, building, RTS, real time with pause, roguelites. Yes, there are a little bit of roguelike elements here. It says farming, life sim, post-apocalyptic. So every single thing I've seen here, all the tags looking pretty good. So the story takes place, I don't even know, it's either an alternate future or just in another fantasy world in general, where you are just you start off with a village. The leader talks to you because he's like, oh yeah, everything's going bad, the whole world is running out of resources, everything's getting taken over by some sort of poison, and now the way to get away from it and just survive in general is to just keep moving. So they go on top of this gigantic beast called Onbu, who kind of does his own thing, but you can learn, you can gain trust back and forth, and etc. So that's pretty much the story. The gameplay right now is just one mode. Not sure if there's going to be anything in the future, but it is just survival mode. You have an easy mode, a normal mode, and a hard mode. If you play the easy mode, it has the tutorial and it teaches you up to a certain extent, and then after that you are left to your own devices. I found that at the end of the tutorial, I pretty much knew what I was doing, and yeah, there was a lot more that I had questions about, like, oh, what does this future building do? But it's good they didn't spoil everything. So I recommend, this game isn't too hard, especially if you've played a lot of RTS building games. I'm just gonna throw one out there, like They Are Billions, though it's not the exact same. You're not tower defending. It's a lot of you have to pause a lot to make sure every second counts sort of game. I would say unless you are playing on easy, this is not a casual game. You want to really be efficient with your space. You want to be efficient with every single minute and a thing that you do, all the decisions. So not a chill game, by the way, not a chill game. You got to be on the dot unless you're playing easy mode. Okay, so yeah, it's just the survival mode. Basically, the game is over when all of your villagers die or when Onbu dies. So there's lots of different things you need to keep up and manage. So I'll take you through a little bit at the beginning and further out. So you just start on the wandering Onbu's back, depending on your seed, and I don't know if you can change it. It's just random, right? So you have a gigantic plateau on his back. You have dirt, you have grass, and you have a lot of starting resources. You have wood, stone, mushrooms, and berries. You're gonna start building, houses for your people, farms, sawdust, sawmills, and all that stuff. So using all the resources, you have to just slowly build up and build up and build up. Now, what's exciting is you are moving to different biomes. So everything is real time. You are managing this, but you also have to zoom out, look at Onbu, and see where he's going. Depending on the biome that he goes, it can be a nice lush green area where everything's fine. You don't have to worry about things. But then he can go to crazy poisonous areas, or even deserts where it's harder to get water and stuff like that. So you have two parts: the village part and then the Onbu wandering part. The village part, it's just what I mentioned. You're just gonna keep researching, getting new buildings, etc. You can recruit more nomads via scavenging in the world. As soon as you get a little further into your run, you're going to unlock scavenging buildings. Now you can go outside, like when you go to the Onbu map, you can see lots of different randomized biomes and also little points of interest. You can send scout parties there to get lots of resources that, yes, you can get there, but you can also find more different sorts of nomads to join you, random events where you have to make a decision, and sometimes it's good, sometimes you're trading, and sometimes you might just lose your nomad straight out. That's where the roguelite aspect comes in. It's the procedurally generated starting base, the randomness of how far you live and how far you go in the biomes, and then the different sorts of events that pop up. So that's all the random stuff, and basically you just want to survive as long as you can. You have to keep up your food, you have to keep up the happiness, but you also have to not get poisoned. So you have to start building basic doctors and using lots of herbs to go on. Next is Onbu. This is the creature that doesn't really, doesn't give a crap about you until he really needs your help, because as the game goes on, he can find food on his own and he sleeps on his own. When he gets tired, he'll just drop where he is. He poops on the ground. You could pick up his dung and you can, research it to use up to fuel and stuff like that. But basically, he will just go do what he does. However, you can build like different sorts of things to interact with him. You can throw a trebuchet food at him. You can build a horn so you can tell him to walk in certain directions. And the thing is, he will trust you at certain intervals and sometimes not. It really depends on how much food you've given him, how much time you've spent with him, and if you, destroy the resources on his back. Most resources are fine, but you can take out like spikes on his back, which is pretty much rocks, a really nice resource, but then you lose distrust. So you have to have a nice balance of, trust, food, where you want to go. So it's a lot of micromanaging, but at least you get the pause, 1 times speed, 2 times speed, 3 times speed, etc. And that's pretty much it. Just make sure you got enough food, make sure everyone's not poisoned, gather people when you can, research, take care of Onbu, scavenge everything, and that's the whole game. It's just a gigantic micromanaging game. You're not sending people out to battle or anything like that. You're in fact just surviving and battling the poison. Pretty much it. With this being an early access game, I don't know what else they could be adding here besides even just more dangers, more events, and more, different researches to combat a lot of the difficulty popping up. I feel like perhaps there could be an endgame campaign in the future, but I wouldn't mind if it was just like this. I really don't mind a straight survival mode. Go as far as you can. However, maybe, to increase the longevity, the replayability, because these runs are going to last hours and hours and hours. If you know what you're doing, it's going to last a long time. But I would like in the future maybe meta progression. Like if you lose, this is like what I really like in roguelikes, where it keeps you playing because every run you get a little bit better via player knowledge, and also you just unlock access to more different things, but also even more dangers. So, that can be in lieu of even higher difficulties besides the hard mode that make it so new different types of event pops up. But then you also get, access to different types of resources as well. So that's the Wandering Village. I think it's a pretty good game. It's a pretty game. I guess I didn't talk about that. It's a nice game. Very cartoony. It's very smooth transition where you're in the village looking around. You zoom out to see Onbu, and then you zoom out even more to see the map. Everything's real time and moving. It's nice. I had no problems with the UI or anything. The game ran really well. Everything was just good. So it's a really solid game, launching in early access if you're into this. Just remember, I wouldn't say casual game unless you play easy mode. It's a lot of pausing, micromanaging, speeding up really fast, and pausing again. So that's pretty much the game. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like. It helps a lot. If you have any sub for daily videos, I'll be uploading a little bit of what I played here on the main YouTube, but come by Twitch where all of it is being streamed. If you guys use Discord, there's a link down there as well. Join that, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.